Welcome to Buddhist Mindfulness, where ancient wisdom meets modern challenges. Today, we explore how Buddhist principles illuminate paths to overcome 10 habits that make us mentally weak. These teachings are not just philosophical musings, they are practical guides to empower our minds. Through captivating stories, actionable insights, and heartfelt reflections, this video invites you to embark on a journey of transformation. Let's dive into these habits, unravel their impact, and discover how to cultivate resilience and strength. Habit 1: a negative mindset. A negative mindset acts as an invisible barrier between us and our potential happiness. It taints our perception of reality, causing us to interpret events and circumstances through a lens of fear, doubt, and self criticism. When trapped in this mindset, even the simplest challenges appear insurmountable, and opportunities are overshadowed by imagined obstacles. This habit often creates a cycle. The more we dwell on negativity, the more we attract outcomes that reinforce those thoughts. To break free from this cycle, we must first understand its origins, effects, and remedies. At its core, a negative mindset stems from deeply ingrained patterns of thought. These patterns may develop over time due to past experiences, societal conditioning, or personal insecurities. They manifest as self-doubt, I'm not good enough, fear of failure, I'll never succeed, and pessimism, nothing ever works out. These recurring thoughts act as filters, distorting our perception of reality and influencing our decisions. A negative mindset also feeds on fear. Fear of change, fear of the unknown, and fear of judgment often lead to indecision and stagnation. This fear, coupled with a tendency to expect the worst, results in a phenomenon known as self-fulfilling prophecies. For example, someone who believes they'll fail a job interview may approach it with anxiety and lack of confidence, inadvertently sabotaging their performance. Buddhist insights for addressing negativity. Buddhism offers profound wisdom for addressing negativity. At the heart of its teachings are mindfulness and compassion, two tools that can help us break free from the grip of negative thoughts. 1. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of observing our thoughts without judgment. It allows us to recognize negative patterns as they arise and gently redirect them. When practiced consistently, mindfulness helps us develop greater self-awareness and emotional resilience. By focusing on the present moment, we can prevent our minds from spiraling into negativity about the past or future. 2. Loving kindness meditation, metta. This meditation practice involves cultivating feelings of love and compassion for ourselves and others. Metta meditation counteracts negativity by replacing it with positive emotions. By extending kindness to ourselves, we can begin to heal the wounds caused by self-criticism and doubt. Similarly, extending kindness to others fosters empathy and connection, which are antidotes to feelings of isolation and despair. 3. The principle of impermanence. Buddhism teaches that all things are temporary, including hardships and negative emotions. This understanding can bring comfort during challenging times, reminding us that pain and suffering are not permanent states. By embracing impermanence, we can cultivate hope and resilience. A metaphor for transformation. Imagine a lone traveler caught in a fierce storm. The rain lashes against their face, and the wind howls relentlessly. Lost and exhausted, they are overwhelmed by despair, convinced they'll never find shelter. Their negative mindset tells them it's hopeless. They stop searching and prepare to succumb to the elements. Now, imagine if the traveler paused to center themselves, practicing mindfulness. They notice a faint glow in the distance, a potential refuge they might have missed before. With renewed hope and focus, they push forward and eventually find shelter. This metaphor reminds us that by shifting our mindset and embracing mindfulness, we can discover solutions and opportunities hidden behind the veil of negativity. Overcoming a negative mindset is not about denying life's storms, but about cultivating the resilience and clarity to navigate through them. But then, the traveler takes a moment to breathe and center themselves. Through mindfulness, they shift their focus from their fears to their surroundings. In the distance, they notice a faint glimmer of light. Fueled by a newfound sense of hope, they muster the strength to move toward it. The light leads them to a warm and safe shelter where they find refuge. This story illustrates how mindfulness can transform our experience. When we pause to observe our thoughts and surroundings, we often discover opportunities and solutions that were previously obscured by negativity. Living with a negative mindset exacts a heavy toll on our mental, emotional, and physical well being. Chronic negativity can lead to stress, anxiety, and depression, as well as strained relationships and missed opportunities. It also hinders personal growth by keeping us trapped in a cycle of fear and self doubt. Negativity doesn't just affect us, it also impacts those around us. Our moods and attitudes are contagious, and prolonged negativity can create an atmosphere of tension and dissatisfaction. Conversely, when we cultivate a positive mindset, we inspire and uplift others. Breaking free from a negative mindset requires consistent effort and practice. Here are some actionable steps to help shift your perspective. 1. Practice gratitude. Focus on the positive aspects of your life, no matter how small. Keeping a gratitude journal can help reframe your perspective and remind you of the good things you often overlook. 2. Challenge negative thoughts. When you notice a negative thought, ask yourself, is this true? Often our fears and doubts are based on assumptions rather than facts. Replacing irrational thoughts with logical, constructive ones can shift your mindset. 3. Surround yourself with positivity. Spend time with people who uplift and inspire you. Limit exposure to negative influences, such as toxic relationships or media that feeds pessimism. 4. Engage in metta meditation. Dedicate a few minutes each day to loving kindness meditation. Visualize sending love and compassion to yourself, loved ones, and even those with whom you have difficulties. 5. Set realistic goals. Break large tasks into manageable steps and celebrate your progress. Accomplishing small goals builds confidence and momentum. 6. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Recognize that everyone makes mistakes and that imperfection is part of being human. 7. Seek professional support. If negativity persists, consider seeking guidance from a therapist or counselor. Professional support can provide valuable tools and insights for overcoming deeply ingrained patterns. Reflection, acknowledge, and release. The first step in overcoming a negative mindset is acknowledging its presence. Denying or suppressing negative thoughts often gives them more power. Instead, approach them with curiosity and compassion. Ask yourself, what triggered this thought? What can I learn from it? Once acknowledged, refuse to dwell on negativity. Visualize your mind as a sky filled with clouds. Negative thoughts are like storm clouds. They may obscure the sun temporarily, but they will eventually pass. Through mindfulness and metta, you can sweep away those clouds, revealing the sunlit path ahead. A negative mindset is a habit that can be unlearned. By cultivating mindfulness, practicing loving kindness, and embracing the principle of impermanence, we can transform our relationship with negativity. The journey requires patience and dedication, but the rewards, inner peace, resilience, and joy are immeasurable. Like the traveler who found shelter in the storm, we too can discover light and hope, even in our darkest moments. Habit 2. Complaining about things outside your control. Complaining is a habitual behavior many of us engage in without realizing the toll it takes on our well-being and productivity. At its core, complaining anchors us to problems rather than solutions, sapping our energy and focus. By directing our mental and emotional resources toward grievances about things outside our control, we become stuck, unable to move forward. This habit can significantly impact our ability to live a fulfilling and purposeful life. Complaining often arises from a sense of frustration or injustice. It can be tempting to voice dissatisfaction when things don't go as planned or when external circumstances appear unfair. However, constant complaining creates a negative feedback loop. The more we complain, the more we reinforce our focus on what is wrong rather than seeking solutions. Over time, this mindset can become deeply ingrained, making it difficult to see the positives or opportunities in a situation. One of the most insidious aspects of complaining is its contagious nature. When we complain, we often draw others into our negative energy, fostering an environment where dissatisfaction becomes the norm. This not only affects our personal growth, but also impacts our relationships, work environment, and overall quality of life. Buddhism offers profound insights into the nature of suffering and the role of acceptance in overcoming it. At the heart of Buddhist philosophy is the concept of impermanence, anicca. Impermanence teaches us that all things, both pleasant and unpleasant, are transient. By embracing this understanding, we can let go of our attachments to outcomes and the need to control every aspect of our lives. The act of complaining often stems from a resistance to accept reality as it is. Instead of acknowledging the impermanence of challenges, we cling to our grievances, allowing them to define our experience. Buddhism encourages us to shift our perspective. Rather than resisting life's difficulties, we can learn to observe them with equanimity, understanding that they too shall pass. Letting go does not mean complacency. It means releasing the emotional weight of what we cannot change, freeing ourselves to focus on what we can influence. As the Buddha taught, the key to freedom lies in our ability to let go of unnecessary burdens. A classic Zen story beautifully illustrates the importance of letting go. Two monks were traveling together and came to a river with a strong current. A woman was struggling to cross but couldn't manage on her own. Although their monastic rules forbade physical contact with women, the older monk picked her up and carried her across the river. He then set her down and continued on his journey. Hours later, the younger monk, unable to contain his frustration, said, "How could you carry that woman? It's against our rules." The older monk replied, "I set her down by the river. Why are you still carrying her?" This story highlights how clinging to grievances or perceived wrongs can weigh us down far more than the original act itself. The older monk's wisdom lies in his ability to address the immediate need without attachment, while the younger monk's complaint reveals his inability to let go of something beyond his control. Why complaining is counterproductive. 1. Drains energy. Complaining requires energy, and when we focus that energy on negativity, we have less available for constructive actions. 2. Shifts focus from solutions. Instead of seeking ways to resolve a situation, complaining keeps us fixated on the problem. 3. Reinforces negative patterns. The more we complain, the more we reinforce a mindset of dissatisfaction, making it harder to break free. 4. Affects relationships. Chronic complaining can strain relationships as it fosters negativity and drains the emotional resources of those around us. 5. Limits personal growth. By focusing on external factors, we neglect opportunities to develop resilience, adaptability, and problem-solving skills. Practical steps to break the habit of complaining. 1. Practice mindful awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts and words. Recognize when you're about to complain and pause. Ask yourself if expressing the complaint will lead to a constructive outcome. 2. Shift your perspective. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, identify what you can learn or gain from the situation. Reframe challenges as opportunities for growth. 3. Adopt gratitude. Cultivate a habit of gratitude by regularly acknowledging the positive aspects of your life. Gratitude helps counteract the tendency to dwell on negatives. 4. Take action. If something genuinely needs improvement and is within your control, focus on actionable steps rather than lamenting the situation. 5. Let go of what you can't change. Accept that some things are beyond your control. By letting go, you free yourself from the emotional burden and create space for peace and clarity. Life is full of storms, both literal and metaphorical. While we cannot control the wind or the waves, we can learn to steer our ship. Complaining about the storm doesn't calm the sea. It only distracts us from navigating safely to shore. By shifting our energy from complaints to actions, we can chart a course towards solutions and growth. Acceptance doesn't mean passive resignation. It means choosing to focus on what matters. When faced with challenges, ask yourself, what can I do right now to improve the situation? What can I learn from this experience? What can I let go of to lighten my burden? As the monk in the story demonstrated, letting go is an act of wisdom and strength. By releasing what no longer serves us, we create space for what does. When we stop carrying the weight of unnecessary complaints, we find that life becomes lighter, and we become more capable of facing its challenges with grace and resilience. In the end, the choice is ours, to anchor ourselves to complaints or to set sail toward solutions. The next time you find yourself tempted to complain, pause and reflect. Remember the impermanence of the moment, the wisdom of acceptance, and the power of letting go. By doing so, you can transform a habit that holds you back into one that propels you forward. Habit 3, not expressing yourself. Human beings are inherently communicative creatures, yet many of us struggle with self-expression. We hesitate to voice our thoughts and feelings, fearing judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding. This habit of suppression often leads to significant psychological and emotional challenges. By exploring the importance of expressing oneself, we can uncover pathways to emotional freedom, connection, and authenticity. When we suppress our emotions and thoughts, they don't simply disappear. Instead, they accumulate within us, creating a pressure cooker of unexpressed energy. This can manifest in various ways, including stress, anxiety, and even physical ailments. Furthermore, suppressing our true selves alienates us from others, as genuine connection requires vulnerability and honesty. Imagine a river blocked by debris. The water's flow is hindered, leading to stagnation and overflow. Similarly, our emotional and mental well being depends on the free flow of expression. When blocked, we risk emotional stagnation and the eventual eruption of suppressed feelings in unhealthy ways. At the heart of this habit lies fear of being judged, misunderstood, or rejected. These fears often stem from past experiences where our attempts at expression were met with criticism or indifference. Over time, we learn to silence ourselves, creating a pattern that's hard to break. Buddhism offers profound wisdom on the subject of expression through the principle of right speech. This practice emphasizes speaking truthfully, kindly, and beneficially. It's not just about avoiding harmful words, but actively choosing to communicate with clarity and compassion. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process. By being present with our emotions and thoughts, we can articulate them in a way that's both honest and considerate. Mindful communication allows us to express ourselves without fear or aggression, fostering understanding and connection. Expressing oneself is not merely a personal act, it's a relational one. When we share our thoughts and feelings, we invite others into our inner world. This act of vulnerability can strengthen relationships, build trust, and create a sense of community. Consider the story of a talented craftsman who created intricate designs in solitude. Fearing criticism, he kept his work hidden from the world. Years passed, and his skills grew, but so did his isolation. One day, encouraged by a friend, he decided to share his art at a local exhibition. To his surprise, his designs were met with awe and admiration. His work inspired others, sparking a movement of creativity in his community. By expressing himself, he not only enriched his own life, but also touched the lives of many. Breaking the habit of suppression requires conscious effort and practice. Here are some actionable steps. 1. Practice self-awareness. Begin by identifying your thoughts and emotions. Journaling can be a helpful tool for exploring your inner world. 2. Start small. Share your thoughts and feelings with a trusted friend or family member. Gradually expand to expressing yourself in larger settings. 3. Learn assertive communication. Assertiveness is about expressing yourself honestly while respecting others. Practice using I statements to convey your feelings without blame. 4. Engage in creative outlets. Art, music, writing, and other forms of creativity provide alternative avenues for self-expression. 5. Seek feedback. Invite constructive feedback from those you trust. This can help you refine your communication skills and build confidence. 6. Embrace vulnerability. Understand that being vulnerable is a strength, not a weakness. It's the foundation of genuine connection. Effective self-expression isn't just about sharing, it's also about listening. Empathy helps us understand others' perspectives, creating a two-way exchange of thoughts and feelings. When we express ourselves with empathy, we foster mutual respect and understanding. Imagine your heart as a room with windows. When the windows are closed, light and air cannot enter or leave. By opening the windows, you allow fresh air to circulate and sunlight to fill the room. Similarly, when you express yourself authentically, you invite the world to see your light and share in your experiences. Ask yourself, what am I holding back? What truths am I afraid to share? Reflecting on these questions can help you identify areas where you can begin to open up. Breaking free from the habit of suppression is not without its challenges. You may encounter resistance from within and from others. Here's how to navigate these hurdles. Internal resistance. Challenge negative self-talk that tells you your feelings are invalid or unworthy of sharing. Remind yourself that your voice matters. External resistance. Understand that not everyone will respond positively to your expression. That's okay. Focus on finding those who value and respect your authenticity. Set boundaries. While it's important to express yourself, it's equally important to know when and how to share. Choose appropriate times and settings for deeper conversations. When you express yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage creates a ripple effect, encouraging authenticity in your relationships and community. This collective openness can lead to profound personal and social transformation. The habit of not expressing oneself is a silent thief, robbing us of connection, growth, and fulfillment. By embracing authenticity and practicing mindful communication, we can break free from the chains of suppression. Remember, your voice is a gift, and the world needs your unique light. Open the windows of your heart and let it shine brightly for all to see. Habit 4. Blaming others for your problems. Blaming others for your problems is a natural human tendency, but one that comes with significant costs. At its core, this habit shifts the responsibility and power away from yourself, leaving you feeling helpless and stagnant. Understanding the repercussions of blame and the transformative power of accountability can help you reclaim control over your life and foster personal growth. Blame often arises when we feel hurt, betrayed, or overwhelmed. It acts as a defense mechanism, protecting our ego from confronting difficult truths about our own role in a situation. For example, when a project fails, it might feel easier to blame a colleague for not contributing enough rather than examining our own shortcomings in planning or execution. While blame can provide temporary relief, it often comes at the expense of growth and resolution. By focusing on external factors, we neglect to address the internal changes needed to improve and overcome challenges. This dynamic perpetuates a cycle of frustration and missed opportunities for self-improvement. Accountability, on the other hand, is a liberating force. When you take responsibility for your actions and decisions, you regain the power to effect change. This mindset fosters resilience and adaptability, qualities essential for overcoming adversity. Imagine a leader whose team consistently underperforms. By blaming team members, the leader creates resentment and disengagement. However, by acknowledging their role in setting expectations, providing support, and fostering communication, the leader can implement meaningful changes that uplift the entire team. This shift from blame to accountability not only resolves problems, but also builds trust and respect. In Buddhism, the concept of karma emphasizes personal responsibility. Karma teaches that our actions, words, and thoughts shape our experiences and future outcomes. Blaming others contradicts this principle by denying our role in the unfolding of events. Forgiveness and mindfulness are powerful tools within this framework. Forgiveness allows us to let go of resentment and anger, emotions that only serve to harm ourselves. Mindfulness helps us recognize our tendencies to blame and redirect our energy toward constructive actions. For instance, if a relationship ends badly, mindfulness encourages us to reflect on our contributions to the situation. Were we communicative enough? Did we set and respect boundaries? This introspection not only aids in healing, but also equips us with valuable insights for future relationships. There was once a farmer whose fields remained barren year after year. Frustrated, he blamed his neighbors for polluting the land, the weather for being uncooperative, and even the seeds for being defective. Despite his complaints, the fields remained desolate. One day, an old friend visited and suggested the farmer focus on what he could control. Reluctantly, the farmer began tending the soil, removing weeds, and enriching it with compost. Over time, the barren fields transformed into a thriving garden. The farmer realized that his harvest was not a result of external factors, but his own efforts. This story illustrates the profound impact of taking ownership. By shifting his focus from blaming others to improving his actions, the farmer unlocked his potential and achieved success. Blaming others doesn't just affect the individual, it also impacts relationships and communities. Blame creates divisions, fosters hostility, and erodes trust. When individuals in a group point fingers instead of collaborating to solve problems, progress stalls and morale diminishes. Consider a family dealing with financial difficulties. If family members blame one another for overspending or lack of income, tensions rise and unity crumbles. However, if they collectively take responsibility and work toward a solution, such as budgeting or finding additional income streams, they can overcome the challenge together and strengthen their bond. Breaking the habit of blaming others requires conscious effort and practice. Here are some actionable steps to help you shift from blame to accountability. 1. Cultivate awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts and language. Notice when you're inclined to blame someone else for a problem. 2. Pause and reflect. Before assigning blame, take a moment to evaluate the situation objectively. Ask yourself, what role did I play in this? Practice forgiveness. Let go of resentment toward others and yourself. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, it means freeing yourself from the burden of anger. 4. Focus on solutions. Shift your energy from complaining to problem solving. What can you do right now to improve the situation? 5. Seek feedback. Encourage open and honest communication with others. This can help you identify blind spots and areas for growth. 6. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge your efforts to take responsibility and make positive changes, no matter how small. Blaming others is like relinquishing the wheel of your life to external forces. It might feel easier in the short term, but it leaves you at the mercy of circumstances. Taking responsibility, on the other hand, empowers you to steer your life in the direction you desire. Reflect on areas in your life where you tend to blame others. How can you reclaim responsibility and take constructive action? Remember, growth begins with honesty and self-awareness. Forgive, learn, and sow seeds of change with mindful intention. Letting go of blame doesn't mean ignoring injustices or tolerating harmful behavior. It means acknowledging that while you can't control others' actions, you can control your responses. This mindset fosters resilience and inner peace. As you practice releasing blame, you may notice a shift in your relationships and overall outlook. People are drawn to those who radiate accountability and positivity. By inspiring others through your actions, you create a ripple effect that uplifts everyone around you. Blaming others for your problems is a habit that hinders growth and keeps you stuck in a cycle of frustration. By embracing accountability and practicing forgiveness and mindfulness, you can break free from this cycle and reclaim your power. The journey to empowerment begins with a single step: acknowledging your role in your circumstances. Like the farmer who transformed his barren fields, you have the ability to cultivate a fulfilling and successful life through your own efforts. Take responsibility, learn from your experiences, and sow the seeds of change with mindful intention. Habit 5, fantasizing instead of visualizing. Human beings are inherently dreamers. From a young age, our minds are captivated by fantasies, grand, sweeping daydreams of fame, wealth, and triumph. While these fantasies can serve as momentary escapes, they often become obstacles to progress when left unchecked. Habit 5, fantasizing instead of visualizing, highlights the subtle yet critical distinction between the two. Fantasizing detaches us from reality, while visualizing grounds our aspirations in actionable goals. This essay delves deep into the nature of this habit, examining its effects, offering insights from Buddhist philosophy, illustrating the principle through a relatable story, and concluding with reflective practices to cultivate a more grounded approach to achieving our goals. Fantasizing is the act of indulging in vivid and often unrealistic daydreams. It allows us to temporarily escape from the challenges of reality, painting idealistic scenarios where obstacles don't exist and success comes effortlessly. While harmless in moderation, excessive fantasizing can detach us from reality. When fantasies become a substitute for action, they create a dangerous disconnection from the effort required to achieve real outcomes. Foster procrastination. The comfort of daydreaming can lull us into complacency, postponing the disciplined actions needed to turn dreams into reality. Lead to disillusionment. Unrealistic expectations set by fantasies often clash with the hard truths of life, leading to frustration and a sense of failure. For instance, consider someone fantasizing about becoming a renowned author. They imagine the accolades, book tours, and bestseller lists, but they never sit down to write, edit, or learn the craft. Their fantasy, devoid of actionable steps, becomes a barrier rather than a motivator. Visualization, a constructive practice. Visualization, in contrast, is a constructive practice. It involves mentally rehearsing realistic scenarios and mapping out the steps to achieve a goal. By visualizing, 1, we create clarity. Visualization helps break down abstract aspirations into concrete, manageable actions. 2, we stay motivated. Imagining the steps and progress fuels intrinsic motivation. 3, we develop resilience, and anticipating challenges through visualization prepares us mentally and emotionally to face them. Unlike fantasizing, visualization aligns our dreams with reality. It doesn't shy away from the effort required, but embraces it as part of the journey. Buddhist philosophy offers profound guidance on transforming fantasies into purposeful action. Two concepts, in particular, are relevant. One, right intention, samma sankappa. This component of the Noble Eightfold Path emphasizes aligning our thoughts and aspirations with ethical and practical reality. Right intention encourages us to focus on wholesome, actionable goals rather than clinging to delusions. Application: replace vague fantasies with clear, intentional goals. Instead of dreaming about wealth, set a plan for financial discipline and meaningful work. 2. Impermanence. Anicca. Recognizing the transient nature of all things helps us adapt to setbacks and remain grounded in our efforts. Understand that the path to achievement is dynamic. Embrace change and remain flexible in your methods while staying committed to your vision. Mindfulness, sati, acts as the thread weaving these principles together. By staying present, we remain aware of our tendencies to drift into unproductive fantasies and can redirect our focus toward constructive visualization. Consider the story of Min, a university student with grand dreams of academic recognition. Min often fantasized about standing on stage, receiving awards, and basking in applause. Yet, in reality, his grades were mediocre and he barely studied. One day, Min shared his dreams with his mentor, Ms. Lan. Instead of dismissing his aspirations, Ms. Lan gently guided Min to transform his fantasies into a visualization practice. Together, they broke down his dream into actionable steps. 1. Identifying key subjects requiring improvement. 2. Allocating daily study hours. 3. Practicing mindfulness to remain focused and reduce distractions. 4. Setting short-term milestones, such as scoring higher on the next test. Min began to visualize not just the accolades, but the process. Late-night study sessions, overcoming fatigue, and the satisfaction of mastering a challenging concept. Slowly but surely, his efforts bore fruit. By the end of the year, Min's grades improved significantly, and his professors began to recognize his potential. His fantasy of standing on stage eventually became a reality, but it was built on the solid foundation of visualization and effort. The allure of fantasies is undeniable, but they are akin to building castles in the air, beautiful but without foundation. Visualization, on the other hand, is like building castles on solid ground. It roots our aspirations in reality, ensuring they can withstand the trials of life. To embrace visualization over fantasizing, 1. Practice clarity. Define your goals with precision. Instead of saying, "I want to be successful," specify what success means to you. 2. Break it down. Divide your goal into actionable steps and visualize each one. 3. Act with purpose. Pair visualization with consistent effort. Use your mental rehearsal to guide your actions. 4. Embrace impermanence. Be adaptable. If one path doesn't work, visualize alternatives and keep moving forward. 5. Stay mindful. Regularly check in with yourself to ensure you're on track and not slipping into unproductive fantasies. Habit 5, fantasizing instead of visualizing, reminds us of the importance of grounding our dreams in reality. While fantasies can inspire, they must be tempered with the clarity and purpose of visualization. Drawing from Buddhist insights, we learn to align our intentions, embrace impermanence, and cultivate mindfulness, ensuring our aspirations lead to meaningful achievements. Ultimately, the choice is ours. Will we build castles in the air or on solid ground? The answer lies in the actions we take today, fueled by the clarity of our vision and the steadfastness of our effort. Habit 6. Neglecting personal relationships. Humans are social beings by nature. Personal relationships with family, friends, and loved ones are not just an optional part of life. They are foundational to our emotional well-being. When we neglect these connections, whether intentionally or unintentionally, the result is often isolation, loneliness, and a sense of emotional emptiness. The hustle and bustle of modern life, the lure of professional achievements, and the distractions of technology all contribute to this tendency. However, the absence of meaningful relationships leaves us vulnerable to feelings of disconnection and despair. Buddhism provides profound insights into the value of personal relationships. The concept of impermanence, anicca, reminds us that everything in life is transient, including the people we hold dear. Recognizing this impermanence can inspire us to cherish our relationships and not take them for granted. Two key elements of Buddhist practice, presence and right speech, are particularly relevant to nurturing bonds. 1. Presence. To be present is to give your full attention to the moment and to the person in front of you. In relationships, this means listening deeply, understanding without judgment, and offering your undivided attention. This quality of presence creates a space for genuine connection and mutual understanding. 2. Right speech. One of the components of the Noble Eightfold Path, right speech emphasizes speaking truthfully, kindly, and with the intention of fostering harmony. In our interactions, the words we choose can either build bridges or create walls. Practicing right speech ensures that our communication supports the growth and maintenance of our relationships. There was once a successful merchant who was admired by his community for his wealth and business acumen. However, his relentless pursuit of success came at a cost. He spent less and less time with his family. Birthdays, anniversaries, and simple family dinners became events he would miss, often excusing himself with the phrase, "I'm doing this for all of you." Over time, the distance between the merchant and his family grew. His children hesitated to share their joys and concerns with him, and his wife felt more like a stranger than a partner. One day, the merchant experienced a health scare, a heart attack that nearly claimed his life. Lying in a hospital bed, he realized that all his success meant nothing without the love and companionship of his family. Reflecting on the fragility of life, he decided to change. The merchant began spending time with his children, learning about their dreams and fears. He apologized to his wife and committed to being an active part of their shared life. Gradually, the bonds he had neglected were repaired, and the joy he had sought in material wealth was found in the laughter and love of his family. Relationships can be likened to a garden, requiring consistent care and attention. Without effort, weeds of misunderstanding and neglect can overtake the beautiful blooms of love and connection. Here are some ways to cultivate and nurture your relationships. 1. Water it with presence. Dedicate time and attention to the people you care about. Put away distractions like phones and laptops when you're with them. Listen actively and engage fully in conversations. 2. Sunlight it with kindness. Acts of kindness, both big and small, can breathe life into relationships. A heartfelt compliment, a thoughtful gift, or simply being there in times of need can make a world of difference. 3. Savor its fleeting blooms. Appreciate the moments you share with your loved ones. Life's impermanence reminds us that these moments are precious and irreplaceable. Celebrate the good times and face challenges together. In today's fast-paced world, maintaining personal relationships has become increasingly challenging. Technology, while connecting us in many ways, also creates barriers to meaningful interactions. Social media, for instance, can give the illusion of connection while fostering superficial interactions. Work commitments and societal pressures to hustle often leave little room for nurturing bonds. Yet, despite these challenges, it is possible to prioritize relationships. Setting boundaries around work and technology, scheduling regular check-ins with loved ones, and practicing gratitude for the people in your life are steps toward deepening your connections. If you find yourself neglecting personal relationships, here are practical steps to reconnect and rebuild. 1. Acknowledge the issue. Recognize and accept that your relationships may need attention. Avoid defensiveness and take responsibility for your part. 2. Reach out. Start with a simple gesture, a call, a text, or an invitation to meet. Express your desire to reconnect and be open about your intentions. 3. Create rituals. Establish regular rituals that foster connection, such as family dinners, weekly phone calls, or annual trips with friends. Apologize and forgive. If there has been hurt or misunderstanding, be willing to apologize and seek forgiveness. Likewise, extend forgiveness to others. Invest time. Relationships thrive on time spent together. Prioritize your loved ones by carving out dedicated time in your schedule. 6. Seek professional help if needed. If relationships are severely strained, consider seeking guidance from a counselor or therapist. Rebuilding neglected relationships can lead to profound rewards. Emotional intimacy provides a sense of security and belonging, reduces stress, and enhances overall well being. Moreover, strong relationships often serve as a source of inspiration and motivation, enriching every aspect of life. Personal relationships reflect the broader truths of life, the importance of presence, the power of kindness, and the reality of impermanence. By tending to these connections, we not only enrich our own lives, but also contribute to a web of love and support that uplifts everyone involved. Cherish your relational garden, for it is one of life's most beautiful and fleeting treasures. Habit 7. Letting your emotions rule you. Emotional turbulence clouds judgment and disrupts balance. When we let our emotions rule us, we often act impulsively, make decisions we later regret, and harm our relationships and well-being. This habit stems from a lack of emotional awareness and control, leading to unnecessary conflict and inner turmoil. To break free, we must learn to understand, observe, and manage our emotions effectively. Buddhism provides timeless wisdom for dealing with emotions. Central to this is mindfulness, the practice of observing one's emotions without attachment or aversion. When you cultivate mindfulness, you create a space between stimulus and response, allowing for wiser choices. Another valuable practice is loving kindness, metta meditation. By generating feelings of goodwill towards oneself and others, loving kindness helps soften anger, resentment, and fear. It promotes compassion, which serves as a balm for emotional turbulence. Lastly, emotional intelligence acts as a navigation tool for our inner world. Understanding the nature of emotions, recognizing their impermanence, and responding skillfully are critical aspects of emotional mastery. Buddhist teachings remind us that emotions, like passing clouds, come and go. Recognizing this impermanence helps us avoid being swept away. Imagine a sailor caught in a sudden storm. The waves crash against his boat, the wind howls, and panic sets in. His hands tremble and his mind races with fear. What if the boat capsizes? What if I drown? In his panic, he makes erratic decisions, pulling the sail too tight, steering wildly, causing the boat to tilt dangerously. Then he pauses. Taking a deep breath, he reminds himself of his training. He steadies his hands and focuses on the task at hand. Slowly, he adjusts the sail and aligns the rudder that's navigating the storm with care. The wind and waves remain fierce, but his calm demeanor and deliberate actions keep the boat afloat. Eventually, he reaches the safety of the harbor. This sailor's journey mirrors our emotional struggles. When we let fear or anger take the helm, we risk capsizing our metaphorical boat. But by grounding ourselves and responding thoughtfully, we can weather any storm. Emotions are natural responses to our experiences, and they play a vital role in our lives. Joy, sadness, anger, and fear provide valuable information about our needs and surroundings. However, problems arise when emotions overpower reason. For instance, anger can blind us to solutions, sadness can lead to despair, and fear can paralyze us. When these emotions dominate, they distort our perceptions and cloud our judgment. This is why cultivating emotional awareness is so important. Signs that emotions are ruling you: acting impulsively and regretting it later, overreacting to minor issues, feeling overwhelmed and unable to focus, holding grudges or ruminating on past events, struggling to communicate effectively in heated moments. Mindfulness is the antidote to emotional reactivity. By observing emotions without judgment, you can create a buffer between feeling and action. Here's how. Pause and breathe. When you feel an intense emotion rising, stop and take a few deep breaths. This simple act can interrupt the cycle of reactivity. Name the emotion. Identify what you're feeling. For example, say to yourself, "I'm feeling angry," or "This is sadness." Naming emotions helps you gain clarity and distance. Observe without attachment. Recognize that emotions are transient. They arise, peak, and eventually subside. Instead of clinging to or resisting them, let them flow naturally. Loving kindness meditation is a powerful tool for transforming negative emotions. It involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill, such as, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I be free from suffering." You can extend these wishes to others, including those you struggle with. This practice fosters empathy and reduces hostility, enabling you to approach challenges with compassion rather than anger. Emotional intelligence in action. Daniel Goleman, a pioneer in emotional intelligence, identified 5 key components. 1. Self-awareness, recognizing your emotions and their impact. 2. Self-regulation, managing emotions constructively. 3, motivation, using emotions to fuel positive actions. 4, empathy, understanding and sharing the feelings of others. 5, social skills, building healthy relationships through effective communication. Applying these skills helps you navigate emotional challenges with grace and resilience. Think of yourself as the captain of your emotional ship. Emotions are the winds and waves, unpredictable yet manageable. To steer successfully, you need mindfulness to observe the weather conditions, your emotions, emotional intelligence to read the map, understand your inner landscape, loving kindness to maintain harmony with the crew, your relationships. Ask yourself, when was the last time I let my emotions control me? How could mindfulness have helped in that situation? What practices can I adopt to improve my emotional navigation? Practical exercises. 1. Daily check-ins. Set aside a few minutes each day to reflect on your emotions. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why? 2. Mindful breathing. Practice deep breathing exercises to ground yourself during emotional highs. 3. Journaling. Write about your emotional experiences. This helps you process feelings and identify patterns. 4. Loving kindness meditation. Dedicate 5 to 10 minutes daily to this practice. 5. Role-playing difficult conversations. Rehearse challenging interactions to prepare emotionally and practice calm responses. Emotions are a fundamental part of the human experience, but they don't have to dictate our actions. By practicing mindfulness, cultivating loving kindness, and developing emotional intelligence, we can navigate life's storms with grace and resilience. Remember, you are the captain of your ship. With the right tools, you can steer through any emotional turbulence and find the calm within. Habit 8. Trying to control everything. The desire for control is deeply ingrained in human nature. From meticulously planning our day-to-day lives to attempting to steer long-term outcomes, many of us grapple with an urge to manage every detail. While control provides a sense of security, overdoing it can backfire, leading to frustration, anxiety, and burnout. This chapter delves into the pitfalls of overcontrol, how mindfulness and non-attachment can help, and why relinquishing control often leads to greater peace and fulfillment. Control is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it enables us to organize, prepare, and strive toward goals. On the other hand, life is inherently unpredictable, and attempting to control the uncontrollable, other people's actions, the weather, or unforeseen events, is a futile endeavor. This mismatch between our expectations and reality can breed frustration and discontent. For instance, imagine planning an outdoor event. You meticulously coordinate every detail, from the seating arrangement to the catering. However, as the day approaches, an unexpected storm ruins your plans. Despite your best efforts, external factors rendered your control ineffective. Situations like this underline the limits of our power and the emotional toll of clinging to control. When we try to control everything, the consequences extend beyond the immediate frustration of unmet expectations. Over-control affects mental and physical well-being, relationships, and productivity. Here are some ways it manifests. Stress and anxiety. Constantly worrying about every detail creates chronic stress. The fear of things going wrong can consume your thoughts, making it difficult to relax or enjoy the moment. Burnout. Over-control requires immense energy. Continuously micromanaging every aspect of your life or work depletes your mental and physical reserves, leading to burnout. Strained relationships. Trying to control others, be it at work, in friendships, or within the family, can lead to resentment. People dislike feeling manipulated or micromanaged, and relationships often suffer as a result. Missed opportunities. The obsession with controlling outcomes narrows your focus, making you less open to unexpected opportunities or new perspectives. Buddhism offers profound insights into the nature of control through the practice of non-attachment. At its core, non-attachment doesn't mean disengaging from life, but rather letting go of the need to control outcomes. By doing so, you foster a sense of freedom and inner peace. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process. It involves focusing on the present moment and recognizing what is within your control versus what isn't. For instance, you can control the effort you put into a task, but you can't control how others react to it. Accepting this distinction allows you to redirect energy toward what truly matters. A key Buddhist teaching is the concept of surrender. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up, it means accepting life's unpredictability. Paradoxically, this acceptance often leads to empowerment as it frees you from the mental burden of trying to dictate every outcome. When you're not preoccupied with controlling everything, you can respond to challenges with greater clarity and resilience. Once there was a gardener named Min who prided himself on maintaining a lush, vibrant garden. He worked tirelessly, planting, watering, and pruning with precision. However, Min had one constant worry: the weather. He checked forecasts obsessively and often grew frustrated when rain didn't fall as predicted or when unexpected frost damaged his plants. Min's anxiety over the weather began to affect his health and enjoyment of gardening. He became irritable, self-blaming himself for things beyond his control. One day, an old friend visited and observed Min's struggle. She shared a piece of wisdom. The weather will always be unpredictable, but your care for the plants is what truly matters. Tend to them with love, and they will thrive regardless of the conditions. Taking this advice to heart, Min decided to focus on what he could control: his gardening practices. He adapted by building a greenhouse for delicate plants and using rain barrels to collect water. Over time, Min noticed a change. Not only did his garden flourish, but he also felt a deep sense of peace. By releasing his obsession with the weather, Min found joy in the process of gardening and life. Letting go of the need to control everything is easier said than done. Here are practical steps to cultivate a mindset of acceptance and focus on what truly matters. 1. Identify what you can and cannot control. Make a list of your concerns and categorize them into 2 columns: within my control and beyond my control. Direct your energy toward the first column and consciously release worries about the second. 2. Practice mindfulness. Engage in mindfulness meditation to train your mind to focus on the present moment. Notice when you're trying to control something beyond your power and gently redirect your thoughts. 3. Adopt flexible planning. While planning is important, leave room for adaptability. Acknowledge that unforeseen changes are part of life and can lead to unexpected opportunities. 4. Embrace imperfection. Perfectionism often drives over-control. Accepting that not everything needs to be flawless can help you ease the need to micromanage. 5. Cultivate trust. Trust in the process of life, the capabilities of others, and your own resilience. This trust allows you to let go without fear. Life is much like a garden. You can prepare the soil, plant seeds, and nurture them, but you cannot dictate the weather or the timing of growth. Trying to control every element only leads to frustration. Instead, focus on planting with care and tending to your garden with love. Accept that some seeds may not sprout and that storms may come. Trust that with consistent effort and patience, the garden will thrive in its own way. Releasing the illusion of control doesn't mean surrendering to chaos. It means aligning your actions with what is truly within your power while embracing life's uncertainties. As the gardener Min discovered, this balance leads to both inner peace and external success. By letting go, you paradoxically gain the freedom and clarity to live more fully. Habit 8, trying to control everything, is a common pitfall in modern life. The constant drive to manage every aspect of our environment can leave us drained and disheartened. However, by embracing the principles of non-attachment, mindfulness, and trust, we can learn to let go of the illusion of control. This shift not only reduces stress, but also enhances our ability to respond effectively to life's challenges. Like the gardener who flourished by focusing on his care and accepting the weather, we too can thrive by releasing what we cannot control and nurturing what we can. Habit 9. Dwelling on the past. Dwelling on the past often keeps us shackled to regret and prevents us from experiencing the joy of the present moment. By obsessing over past mistakes or losses, we inadvertently deprive ourselves of the opportunity to grow, learn, and embrace life as it unfolds. This habit, though common, can become a significant barrier to happiness and personal fulfillment. At its core, dwelling on the past is rooted in the human tendency to ruminate. Rumination involves repeatedly thinking about past events, often with a focus on negative aspects. This habit creates a cycle of regret and self-blame, making it challenging to move forward. The psychological effects can include heightened anxiety, depression, and a reduced ability to cope with current challenges. From a neurological perspective, our brains are wired to revisit painful experiences as a survival mechanism. This is meant to help us learn from mistakes and avoid similar situations in the future. However, when this mechanism becomes overactive, it leads to excessive rumination and emotional stagnation. Understanding this can help us recognize the importance of breaking free from the habit of dwelling on the past. Buddhist philosophy provides profound wisdom on this topic. Central to its teachings is the practice of mindfulness, the art of living fully in the present moment. Mindfulness encourages us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing us to acknowledge past experiences without becoming entangled in them. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice. This includes forgiving others and, perhaps more importantly, forgiving oneself. When we hold on to grudges or self-criticism, we tether ourselves to the past. Letting go through forgiveness liberates us from these emotional chains. Self-compassion. Embracing self-compassion helps us to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, especially when reflecting on past mistakes. Instead of harsh self-judgment, self-compassion allows us to learn and grow without the burden of guilt. Impermanence. The Buddhist concept of impermanence reminds us that everything is transient. By accepting that the past cannot be changed and that the future is not guaranteed, we can focus our energy on the present moment. This mindset opens the door to fresh beginnings and new opportunities. Imagine a hiker embarking on a challenging mountain trek. At the start of his journey, he carries a heavy backpack filled with regrets from his past. Each regret is represented by a physical object in the bag: a broken compass for a lost relationship, a tattered map for a missed opportunity, and a heavy rock for a mistake that caused pain. As the trail becomes steeper, the weight of the backpack slows him down. He notices other hikers moving ahead, seemingly unburdened. Frustrated and exhausted, he decides to take a break. Sitting by a stream, he reflects on why he's carrying these items. Realizing that they no longer serve him, he begins to empty the backpack, one item at a time. With each discarded object, he feels a sense of relief and lightness. Now unburdened, the hiker continues his journey with renewed energy and a clear focus on the trail ahead. He climbs higher than he ever thought possible, marveling at the beauty of the present moment. The story of the hiker serves as a powerful metaphor for our own lives. Many of us carry heavy emotional backpacks filled with regrets, grudges, and self-criticism. These burdens weigh us down, preventing us from fully engaging with the present and reaching our potential. To let go of the past, we must first acknowledge what we are holding on to. This requires honesty and self-awareness. Once we identify these burdens, we can choose to release them through practices such as mindfulness, forgiveness, and self-compassion. Embracing the present moment allows us to see life as an open trail, full of possibilities. Each step forward becomes an opportunity to grow, explore, and connect with the world around us. By letting go of yesteryears, we free ourselves to climb higher, live lighter, and experience joy with a renewed vigor. Practical steps to let go of the past. 1. Identify the burdens. Reflect on the specific events or emotions from your past that continue to weigh you down. Journaling can be a helpful tool for this process. 2. Practice forgiveness. Write a letter of forgiveness to yourself or someone else. You don't have to send it. The act of writing can be cathartic. 3. Cultivate mindfulness. Engage in daily mindfulness practices such as meditation or mindful breathing to anchor yourself in the present. Seek professional help. If past experiences feel too overwhelming to address alone, consider seeking guidance from a therapist or counselor. Embrace impermanence. Remind yourself that nothing is permanent, including pain and regret. This perspective can help you find peace with the past. 6. Set goals for the future. Focus on creating positive experiences and setting achievable goals. This shifts your attention away from the past and toward what lies ahead. Dwelling on the past is a habit that many of us struggle with, yet it is entirely within our power to change. By adopting practices rooted in mindfulness, forgiveness, and self-compassion, we can release the burdens of regret and embrace the beauty of the present moment. Let go of yesteryears and step into today's open trail with a lighter heart and renewed vigor. Habit 10. Worrying about what others say and do. Worrying about what others say and do is one of the most common habits that hinders personal growth and authentic living. This tendency often leads us to seek external validation, tying our self worth to others' opinions. The result? We stray from our true path and lose touch with our inner compass. Authenticity, however, emerges when we align with our core values and embrace who we are, unapologetically. This habit of worrying creates unnecessary stress and steals our peace of mind, making it essential to learn how to shift away from this mindset. Buddhism offers profound insights into overcoming the habit of worrying about others' opinions. Central to this is the concept of equanimity, upekkha, a state of calmness and impartiality regardless of external circumstances. When we cultivate equanimity, we learn to remain steady in the face of praise or criticism, unaffected by others' actions or words. Mindfulness, another key Buddhist principle, encourages us to stay present and observe our thoughts without judgment. By being mindful, we can recognize when we're falling into the trap of seeking validation and gently redirect our focus back to our own values and goals. Self-love, too, plays a crucial role. It acts as a buffer, protecting us from the sway of external judgments. When we nurture self-compassion and self-acceptance, we become less dependent on others' opinions to feel good about ourselves. Instead, our sense of worth comes from within, rooted in our own inherent value as human beings. Consider the story of Emma, a talented musician who dreamed of sharing her music with the world. Despite her passion, she hesitated to perform publicly because she feared harsh criticism. Every time she picked up her guitar, her mind filled with doubts. What if they don't like my voice? What if they think my songs are boring? One day, Emma's mentor encouraged her to shift her focus from others' opinions to the joy of creating music. Play for yourself, the mentor said. Let the music flow from your heart and trust that it will reach the right ears. Taking this advice to heart, Emma performed at a small community event. Instead of worrying about the audience's reaction, she poured her emotions into her performance, fully immersing herself in the moment. To her surprise, her genuine expression resonated deeply with the crowd. People approached her afterward, praising her authenticity and passion. That night, Emma realized that the joy of being true to herself far outweighed the fear of judgment. From then on, Emma embraced her unique style and continued to create music that reflected her soul. Her journey reminded her and others that when we live authentically, we inspire those around us to do the same. Reflecting on the habit of worrying about what others say and do, it becomes clear that this concern often stems from a lack of trust in ourselves. To sail our own course, we must anchor our self-worth in authenticity. This means embracing who we are, including our flaws and imperfections, and committing to living in alignment with our values. Equanimity can serve as our guiding star, helping us navigate the ups and downs of life without being swayed by external opinions. When we remain centered, we can approach praise and criticism with the same level of calm, recognizing them as fleeting experiences rather than definitive measures of our worth. Practical steps to help shift away from this habit. 1. Practice mindfulness. Spend a few minutes each day observing your thoughts. Notice when you're seeking validation or worrying about others' opinions and gently bring your attention back to the present moment. 2. Set intentions. Before starting your day, set an intention to focus on your own values and goals. Remind yourself that your worth isn't determined by others' judgments. 3. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. This builds confidence and reinforces your sense of self-worth. 4. Limit social comparison. Social media can amplify the habit of worrying about others' opinions. Limit your exposure to content that triggers comparison and focus on platforms that uplift and inspire you. 5. Cultivate self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a dear friend. Remember, everyone makes mistakes and faces challenges. 6. Find your tribe. Surround yourself with people who support and encourage your authenticity. Having a positive and accepting social circle can make it easier to let go of the need for external validation. 7. Seek inspiration from role models. Look up to individuals who embody authenticity and resilience. Learn from their journeys and apply their insights to your own life. 8. Journal your thoughts. Writing can be a powerful tool for self reflection. Use a journal to explore your fears about judgment and identify patterns that hold you back. 9. Focus on contribution. Shift your perspective from what do they think of me to how can I add value to their lives. This mindset fosters genuine connections and reduces self consciousness. 10. Embrace growth. View feedback as an opportunity for growth rather than a personal attack. Recognize that constructive criticism can help you improve and evolve. By implementing these practices, you can gradually let go of the habit of worrying about others and cultivate a life grounded in authenticity and inner peace. Remember, the journey to self acceptance is a process, and every step forward brings you closer to living a life that truly reflects who you are. As you sail your own course, let the winds of equanimity guide you and the anchor of authenticity keep you steady. Trust that your unique light will shine brightly, inspiring others to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery and fulfillment. The 10 habits discussed are not just obstacles to mental strength. They are also opportunities for growth and transformation when approached with the right mindset. Buddhist teachings provide profound tools to overcome these barriers, offering a path toward clarity, peace, and empowerment. By cultivating mindfulness, we learn to live in the present moment, free from the weight of past regrets and future anxieties. Through compassion, we deepen our connections with others, fostering empathy and kindness that uplift both ourselves and those around us. Wisdom, gained through introspection and practice, guides us to make choices aligned with our higher purpose. Resilience is not merely the ability to endure hardships, it is the capacity to adapt, grow, and thrive in the face of challenges. Buddhism teaches us that strength is not rigid but flexible, not forceful but harmonious. It is in this balance that true empowerment lies. As you integrate these insights into your daily life, let them inspire you to weave resilience into the very fabric of your being. Every mindful breath, every act of kindness, and every moment of self-reflection contributes to your journey of mental and spiritual fortitude. May your path be illuminated by purpose, enriched by meaningful connections, and filled with joy. Remember, the seeds of strength are already within you. Nurture them with care and watch them grow into a flourishing garden of resilience and peace.